Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we are not long now away from the release of the Dragon Ball Heroes units for 2023. So as I always do with upcoming banners, we are going to do a summon or skip video. Now these videos are always usually geared more towards free-to-play or people who don't spend a lot of money, like those players, because those are the players where you do kind of have to think a bit more and be a bit more tactical with your summoning. And it's going to be interesting for the Heroes banner because you guys know me, I'm sure by this point, unless you're very new to the channel. I am big on Heroes, my favourite celebration of the year. I love all of these crazy like what if characters and forms that we never got to see in the real show. So for me, I always go all in on Heroes, even if the units don't end up being that great. I just love using them, I love seeing the unique characters, the forms, the super attacks and everything in the game. So for me, it's very, very exciting. However, for people who are, on the fence about whether or not to summon, there are a lot of things to take into account when thinking about summoning on this banner. So we're going to start by going through these things in no particular order. If you find any of this information helpful at all, do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But yes, let us jump straight in. So the first thing you need to know is that the Heroes banner, if you didn't know already, is guaranteed featured unit every multi-summon. So these are the 5 new units that are releasing this year, and then we also have the Awakenings for Tech, Dark Janemba and the AGL Golden Metal Cooler. They will be featured on the banner because they are Awakening. That means that the banner has 7 units on it. Every single multi, you will get one of those 7 units. Now, the other thing that's interesting about the Heroes banner compared to normal banners is if you were to get a bonus SSR in the multi, not only are the only units or the only SSRs on the Heroes banner the Heroes units, so all of the other unfeatured SSRs are all of the older Heroes units. Compared to a normal banner, the bonus SSRs are actually more weighted towards being featured than they are unfeatured. So if you get a bonus SSR in the multi, it could still be an unfeatured hero, but it's more likely to be one of the featured units. So there is a possibility that if you get a double or even triple SSR multi, it could literally be 2 or 3 of these units that you're seeing here, or Janemba or Metal Cooler, of course. So that is obviously very, very good. You can get some good value out of this banner. Getting, for example, like the God Goku summon animation that guarantees that you're getting 3 SSRs is always big hype for the Heroes banner because it guarantees you're getting 3 Heroes units. So, any SSRs you pull, all going to be Heroes units and more likely to be featured. Now, the issue is, as often is the case when it comes to Heroes units, that these guys all have various restrictions for being run with certain allies. So Rose, or Super Saiyan 3 Rose, wants to be run with crossover allies in order to get his full buffs. Vegito wants to be run with crossover allies or giant 8 power allies. Broly wants giant 8 power allies, and so on and so forth, right? So the problem with that is if you're a newer player or you're someone who's free to play and you go into this banner and you just drop, let's say 250 stones, which is 5 multis, you might pull there's 5 characters on the screen right now. Let's say you did get lucky and you pulled one of each of all 5 of those with the 5 multis, but you didn't get any bonus SSRs or anything else. That means that, I guess, if you farm up the free-to-play units, you can now make a full Heroes team. You could run Vegito with Broly, you could run Fu with Rose, for example, or Rose with Vegeta. They do share a few links because obviously they're both Super Saiyans, both God forms. And that team will be runnable, but is it going to be going in and like stomping all over red zone stages, especially at 55%? Probably not, right? You want to have some flexibility in your team building. So if you're someone who summoned on the previous Heroes banners and you have a bunch of the old Heroes units, then obviously adding the new, more powerful ones to your collection is going to make for much stronger team building. But if you're coming into this with no Heroes units whatsoever, you just have to be aware that it's going to be very difficult to make a very good team unless you are going to be doing quite a lot of summons. And again, for someone who's free to play or doesn't spend a lot in the game, that's probably not very likely considering all the crazy stuff that we've recently had on Global and JP as well, because obviously this banner's out on both versions at the same time, so this advice will apply to JP and Global players as well. You also have to remember all the things that are going to be coming up in the future. Global will get Super Trunks very soon, which I think he's an easy skip for most people. But we are both going to be getting hopefully, because it was shared last year, we're both going to be getting the New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest, which, remember, last year was the release of Orange Piccolo and Ultima Gohan, and Orange Piccolo, still to this day, is arguably the best unit in the game. So it's very possible that they could release another unit for this year's New Year's Dual Dokkan Fest, who's the new best unit in the game for almost a whole year. So you don't want to use all of your stones, and then we get this Dual Dokkan Fest come out in like a month's time, and you don't have any stones left. So you've got to be very, very careful. Now, if we take a look at a previous banner just to see the format, this is the banner from last year. You can see here the new units at the top, and then the units that awakened underneath. So it was 9 featured units last year. This year we're getting 5 new units and only 2 units that awaken, so only 7 featured units. And you can see other cards, it's all of the heroes characters. So these guys will be under this selection as well. Now, the interesting thing about this is all of the other characters are available unfeatured, including the characters that are getting EZAs this year. And that is the other thing that I wanted to touch on very briefly, is there are 2 Heroes banners every year now. I think this started 2 or 3 Heroes celebrations ago, where there will now be a banner for all of the Heroes EZA units. So we know the units that are getting EZAs this year: Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Broly, Dark Mask King, Black Mask Saiyan, Int Demon Goddess Toa, STR Super Mira, Physical Demon Demigra, and AGL Demon God Dabura. This will be a banner with those as the 8 featured units. And then the other unfeatured SSRs are still also all the old Heroes units. So the thing you have to think about as well, if you want to summon for Vegito, specifically, for example, on the new banner, you're probably really going to want Super Saiyan 4 Vegito to go with him, who's going to be on the EZA banner this year. Now, he will be unfeatured in this banner, but the problem is, as you can see here, like the featured and unfeatured, it's a rate of like 7-3. So there's a 10% chance you pull a featured SSR, or sorry, pull an SSR, 7% chance it's featured, 3% it's unfeatured. So first of all, you've got to hit that 3% that it's unfeatured, and then it's one of what? There's like 30, 40, almost 50 Heroes cards now. So pulling Vegito specifically on the main banner is going to be very difficult, whereas on this banner, it's only the 8 featured EZA units and it's guaranteed featured, as well as the fact that the first 3 multis are 30 stones each. So basically, if you are going to summon, and there's certain units that you're missing from the older batch, especially if they are the EZA characters, what you're going to want to do is do a bunch of your summons on the main banner, because you never know, you might hit that low percentage, and you might pull a Super Saiyan 4 Vegito from the main banner, and then that would mean you don't have to worry about summoning on this one, unless you want to get some of the other EZA characters. Whereas, you know, you might also pull one of the random unfeatured units that's really old, like, who's not EZAing and is old? Like this Goku, for example. I think they're going to EZA him and the Vegeta next year. So you might pull random other Heroes units that you're not expecting, and then you can determine whether you should save stones to then do some summons on these banners. And also remember, if you are a spending player, not only will they be adding more stone packs, but we always get a stone that you can buy, which is like a white stone or a silver stone, that lets you pick a Heroes unit specifically out of a selection. So like for me, for example, I only need 1 copy of Demon Goddess Toa. So I'm going to do my summons on the main banner. If I don't pull a copy of her from the unfeatured pool, because she will be in there, if I don't pull a copy of her from this, I can then decide whether I want to summon on the EZA banner, because she'll be featured on there, or I could use my Silver Stone to pick her up. But there are a couple of other characters I need as well, which is why you always want to do your summons on the main banner first, because you could end up pulling some of these unfeatured heroes that you actually do need the extra copies of. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to how to even go about your summons, let alone whether or not you are going to do them in the first place. But circling back around to kind of the main point of the video, summon or skip. So even though they do have some restrictions, Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito and the Rose are incredibly good. These guys are very good units. Vegito, I've seen people arguing that, like, in his best case scenario, he's a top 5 TUR, which is great. It's awesome that Heroes is getting that kind of shine and having an actual really good unit. The problem is that is, of course, people seeing him Rainbow Link level 10 from the private server showcases. So if you're someone who, like I mentioned at the beginning, is going to drop like 250 stones, pretty unlikely that you're going to Rainbow Vegito unless you get insane luck and you pull him in every single multi, or you pull multiple copies in one of those multis, right? But even if you get him with like a couple of dupes, he is going to be very good. So the thing when it comes to heroes is always just down to how much of a fan of the units are you? Do you think they're cool? Do you think they look fun to use? Maybe, you know, it could be worth summoning, because it's a game at the end of the day, right? You should summon for characters that you like, that are fun, but at the same time, you've got to think about what is coming up in the future. Because a big thing that could potentially happen that we haven't even talked about is there is the possibility, even though it may be slim, that Global and JP share the anniversary at the end of January / beginning of February. So if you're a free-to-play player and you dump like all of your stones into the Heroes banner, and then all of a sudden it was, you know, we get the anniversary in February, you're going to have like 200 stones maybe, which is unfortunate. So, you know, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, because I love Heroes, right? Hashtag Heroes Agenda. I just dropped the new Heroes merch. Go check out the post on the community tab or on Twitter. Let me know if you do pick something up. But unfortunately, if you are free to play or you're a newer player, it probably is worthwhile to skip the Heroes units. It's a shame because they only come around once per year. Next year, it'll be a case where they'll be unfeatured, so they'll be difficult to get copies of until, you know, a couple of years later when they get EZAs and then they're featured on the EZA banner. But sadly, as cool and as fun as these units are, the other thing that can also be an issue is how quickly they age. So you guys know on streams, I've been trying to do Heroes versus Sin. Tonight was the final attempt because the new units come out tomorrow, so there's kind of no point doing it with the old units anymore. And I did not manage to get it done. And in terms of the JP timeline, the anniversary only came out 2 months after Heroes. So that means the hardest event from the anniversary, the hardest event in the game that came out 2 months after the Heroes units were unable to beat with no items. So to be fair, if you don't care about no item runs, like a lot of people don't, then the Heroes team can beat Sin, so it doesn't matter. Which I guess is an interesting thing to bring into the discussion about how the units age, because if you don't care about using items, I guarantee you this new Heroes team, even if you only have the characters at 55% or 1 or 2 dupes, if you're using items as well, you are going to be able to beat the events that are out in the game right now. The problem is, if they bring out a new difficult event for the next anniversary, is it going to be a level of power creep that it then becomes too difficult for the Heroes units? Unfortunately, that is something that we just will not know until those events come out. So at the end of the day, the Heroes banner, I think sadly, is for collectors or for whales or for people who just, you know, want to have fun. You don't really care about summoning for the optimal things. You just like to summon for things that look cool. And then you're happy to deal with whatever comes for the rest of the year, you know, whatever situation you're in stone-wise. But sadly, if you're trying to be smart with your stones and you're free to play or you only spend a very small amount on the game, unfortunately, it is probably going to be a skip. If you really wanted to try a couple of summons and see if you get lucky, you could. But like I said, you might end up with just 1 copy each of a couple of the different units, and they're not going to be super impressive at 55%. I will be doing 55% showcases for the new units. We'll try them out. I'm going to do, it was suggested on stream, it was a great idea. We're going to do a little bit, the first half of the video, showing them off at 55% level 1 links. Then the next part of the video will be them at 55% level 10 links, because I am going to link level 10 them all straight away. And then obviously I will add in all the dupes, Rainbow Mine, and that's when we'll start taking them into the more difficult content. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously, you can feel free to wait and see like mine and other people's showcases and all that stuff coming out, especially the 55% ones, before you decide whether you do want to summon. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you summoning? Are you summoning a little bit? Are you going in hard? Are you pushing the Heroes agenda like me? Hopefully, I will see you guys at the stream. We'll be going live at 5:30 AM UK time, which will basically be 5.5 hours after this video drops, because the banner comes out half an hour after that. So 6 AM UK time. This video is dropping at midnight UK time. So if you're watching this video as soon as it goes up, the banner is out in 6 hours, which means we will be live in 5.5. So hopefully I will see you there. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.